Here now, Rod Blagojevich, former Democrat governor of Illinois, knows a little something about being pushed out. How do you think Biden survives? He seems to be feeling fine. They were waiting for a major freeze. There was no freeze like there was at the debate. And as many times as he mixes up Trump and Kamala and Zelensky and Putin, he lives to fight another day.
Well, I think George Clooney's going to have a sleepless night because I think President Biden made it clear he's not going anywhere. He's going to stay. And the only way they can get a new candidate is if he willingly agrees to step aside. He's made it clear that he's going to run. It sure looks like all the indications are that he's going to run. And, you know, the Democrats are in a real bind. How do you tell 15 million Democratic voters who voted for Biden in the primary, working people, people who in real life do the real work of the world, the home health care worker, for example, who takes care of your grandmother, the auto mechanic who gets dirty fixing your car, how do you tell him or her that you can't, the candidate you voted for needs to get out of the race because George Clooney and Hollywood thinks there should be another candidate? I think the Democrats and the divide in our party and what's happened to the Democrat Party is really a question of whether they're going to stand with the working people that supposedly they're for, which they've actually abandoned, or whether they're going to listen to their Hollywood, Wall Street financiers and Silicon Valley billionaires with regard to what they want. And so I think Biden is going to stay because what else should he do? He's got a legacy to think about, and I think he resents the fact that Obama behind the scenes and Nancy Pelosi behind the scenes are acting not like statesmen or stateswomen, but like old-time Chicago Democratic ward bosses who are going to decide who the candidate for president ought to be.
Well, what would an old-time Chicago ward boss do in the situation? Let's say Nancy and the Messiah are cooking something up in the back smoke-filled room. Would it be a whistleblower? Would it be a golden parachute to the Biden family? Would it be a little pressure campaign, maybe an extra FARA charge on Hunter? What would sweeten the deal, or what would be so painful that Biden would have to take a knee?
No, you're asking a great question, Jesse. No, I think that's going to be happening in the days ahead. I think there'll be a combination of the carrot and the stick. And I think the elites, led by the leaders of the Democrat Party today, Obama, Pelosi, the Clintons, and others, are going to do those sorts of things behind the scenes with their allies in the media, dropping dimes on Biden and his family and his son. At the same time, they'll have, back channels to him, offering him, as you say, golden parachutes and other things if he's just willing to step aside before the Democratic convention here in Chicago. But my guess is Biden's going to stay. What else should he do? He's, 81, 82 years old. He thinks Donald Trump is his vice presidential candidate. Maybe that's another reason why he doesn't want to get out of the race. He hates Trump so much, he doesn't want to cede it to his vice president.
All right. Blagojevich, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.